Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to some more Arsenal transfer news, transfer updates, discussions, opinions, and all that good stuff. Today we have quite an interesting schedule to talk about. Obviously, Arsenal played again against Manchester United. Some other things went on, basically. There is quite a bit of stuff to talk about. There's not only transfers, but of course, there is also the yesterday's friendly game. We're gonna not maybe deep dive into this, but we're gonna talk about what happened, what we saw, and all that stuff, because it was quite interesting to watch. Yes, it was 3 a.m. my time, by the way, so I kind of stayed up very early, if that makes sense. Went to bed around 6 a.m. and everything, but in a way it was worth the watch. Generally, it was worth the watch. So definitely, this is the first preseason game I actually watched. I didn't watch the one against Bournemouth. Not sure I'm gonna watch the one against Liverpool. All remains to be seen. Obviously, it's during work week, so we all know how that goes. But there are some other plans in the future. Obviously, Premier League kicks off for Arsenal in exactly 20 days. And I have scheduled already. I am doing graphics and everything. I have scheduled. I'm gonna do previews, reviews, obviously, for games. I'm definitely gonna go live watch along, so definitely stay tuned for that. It's gonna happen. The first one is against Wolves. I'm not gonna do the preseason friendlies for Emirates Cup, but with Premier League kicking off, definitely there will be Premier League watch alongs. Most likely the UCL watch alongs, to be honest. All that remains to be seen, but that's in the future. That's 3 weeks in the future. But what about now? We played against United, we won 2-1, we lost on penalties. It was weird penalties, I'm not gonna lie, but we won in the end. Nwanieri was shining, Martinelli looked actually very good. Our youngsters overall looked very good in a sense, because you technically, given how the teams were set up and how many players we are missing, how many players Manchester United were missing, we actually looked very good. For basically, if you take into account that we had about 5-6 players missing, but it is what it is. We're gonna deep dive into that, but of course the biggest talk, obviously, still, it's late July, it is transfers. Window closes in 34 days, and Arsenal still haven't announced Calafiori, by the way. We're gonna talk about Calafiori, of course. Today we're gonna talk about, obviously, about Daily Merino, Daily Calafiori. That is still happening. We're gonna talk about other transfer rumors as well. So obviously, if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, hit that like button. Obviously helps the algorithm, everything. Don't forget to interact in the chat, all that good stuff. And to be honest, without further ado, let's kick things straight off, and we're gonna kick things off with Arsenal, obviously, and we're gonna talk about the 2-1 win against Manchester United. It was quite an interesting game, I'm not gonna lie. For the first 10-15 minutes, it was United dominating. Højlund scored a goal. You could see that Heaven really was in a way out of his depth defending that, because he got passed by like he's a bystander. Karl-Heinz also should have done probably better in that instance. He got nutmegged there for the goal and everything. But playing in these pitches in the USA, it's a very big thing, because it's a big issue in a way, because two of Manchester United players got injured. We were actually very close for Odegaard also being injured with that awkward landing and everything. You never knew what could have happened there. But Højlund got injured. He got subbed off. What's his face came on? I forgot that youngster who was out on loan. I always forget his name. To Sevilla, he was out on loan, but he came up and everything. But since then, pretty much it was all Arsenal. We came into the game, we were more comfortable. Obviously, Euro also got instantly injured for United as well, which is their marquee signing, arguably at the moment during the summer, which also wasn't that great, to be honest. It's like flashbacks to last summer, when United also in the preseason quite a bit of players injured instantly, and they kicked off from there. But enough about United, we're here to talk about Arsenal, obviously. And yeah, Arsenal started the game off very slow. Obviously, we are still missing quite a bit of players, but we slowly grew into the game. And one of the player that has actually surprised the most, in a way, not surprised in such a sense that he can play actually, but how included and how actually he's not falling out of place in our team, is Ethan Nwanieri. He had a great game against Bournemouth, and he had a great game against also against Manchester United. Yo, big up Sicily, big up Calafiori, man, big up Calafiori. How's it going? Big up Sicilian Gunner. But yeah, Nwanieri actually had quite a great game. Obviously, around that, before he got subbed off, you could see that he's the fitness and maybe strength he's lacking there. He's lacking that a bit in here or there. But overall, He's the player that doesn't fall out of place in this Arsenal's team. You would expect for such a young player to fall out of place, to maybe be the odd man out, but he actually was fitting well. He was dribbling in front of his own box, he was taking falls, he was distributing the pass. Obviously it all ended up with him assisting for Gabriel Jesus' goal. Still arguments whether Jesus was offside or not, but since it's pre-season, no VAR, no nothing, no controversy in that regard, so we actually got a goal in that instance. But yeah, Nwanieri, by the way, has played much more than Fabio Vieira. And to be honest, he has looked also much better than Fabio Vieira has looked in these 2 years at Arsenal. Which leads me actually to believe that Nwanieri actually might play more, at least in the beginning of the season, than Fabio Vieira for the team. Now, if he's out of his depth in the Premier League, you could maybe, if that comes out as a big thing, if that comes to light, then yeah, maybe Fabio Vieira could come back in. But Fabio Vieira also played on the wing as well, so that was kind of interesting. He played out wide in that Saka's position, so I'm not sure whether he's even gonna be that number 10 spot. Maybe he will be a backup for Saka, which to be honest I don't want to see. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see that, but maybe that might be the instance. But yeah, Nwanieri has played more than Fabio Vieira. He started at left number 8, but he looked very good. He doesn't feel like a number 8 actually in Nwanieri more. He feels like a number 10. At the same time, he actually did properly the job. Although, mind you, yeah, the biggest issue for Nwanieri still, since he's this young, is the strength. Because he gets shoved off the ball a bit easy at times, so that might be the biggest instance why he wouldn't be starting as that left number 8, and that's why we are looking maybe at Merino or Fabian Ruiz and stuff like that. But overall, at the moment in these 2 games, he has proven himself quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, he has really surprised me in a way that how much he has grown. Because he debuted against Brentford 2 seasons ago for 1 game, he played against West Ham last season when we were 6-0 up, and yes, it might be comparing apples to oranges in a way. I know half a year has passed pretty much, but at the same time, it looks like he has grown up massively. He looks like he has improved. Footballing IQ has improved. His technical ability has gone better. Yes, the biggest issue still is the physicality, but he will grow into that obviously with age and with the proper diets and all that stuff. He definitely will grow into that, but his passing is amazing. His close-up dribbling also inside space is very good. He definitely could be actually a backup for Martin Odegaard, potentially. Maybe not as a main guy instantly, whatever happens to, well, if something happens to Odegaard. But there's definitely a possibility to explore that option, in my opinion. Definitely there is some merit. There's a reason to make that argument that Nwanieri could play in that position, and he actually could do the job. There's definitely, I would put up an argument for that. But yeah, he didn't get the man of the match, obviously, for yesterday's game. Yesterday's game, man of the match was given to, actually, where is the guy? Gabi Martinelli. He got player of the why is it? It's player of the match. It's man of the match. What is this player of the match thing going on here? But overall, yeah, Gabi Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Kai Havertz joined the team from a bit longer extended period of break because their teams went to elimination stages in the tournaments they were specifically playing in, so they joined a bit later on. And they all played, by the way, today. Gabriel scored amazing penalty, to be honest. Onana was mocking him, and then he scored in the corner. Onana was saying for him to shoot, and Onana jumped the wrong way, and he just went up to him and said, "Shut your mouth," pretty much. That was amazing. I absolutely loved that. 29, obviously, was there. He came on. Edu Arteta again got subbed on, and as always did F all. And if these games against Bournemouth and Manchester United are any indication and any audition in terms of where we could sell him, I don't think any team that was watching him play for Arsenal would be buying him. I'm not sure what specifically maybe Marseille are seeing in him, and what in these 2 performances definitely, and the performances previously, suggest that Arsenal could get £42 million for him, but I'm holding my hands up. I'm not gonna judge for that, but I still believe that 42 million for Edu Arteta is way too much. I would ask for 25 plus 5 at best. I think that would be the best option we could maybe squeeze out for Edu Arteta, because in these 2 games, he should do something, because he is not playing against the main oppositions, even though it's Manchester United, even though it's Bournemouth, it's 2 Premier League sides. At the same time, all these teams have very makeshift starting 11s and teams up in anyways because they're testing their youngsters, they're playing their youngsters, maybe new signings and everything. And Nketiah legitimately has done F all. So that is the big thing. How Arsenal are justifying the 42 million, 40 million they want for him is beyond me. Yes, you could argue that, for example, 25 million for Edu Nketiah, and since Edu Nketiah gets 100 grand a week, that's 100 grand, 505 mil. He gets about 5.2 a year. So maybe since he has a 3-year contract, that's how they justify those extra 15 million. Maybe that's how. But again, in another world, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So again, I have no idea how this 40 million price tag is coming out for Edu Nketiah when he even cannot do anything in preseason. He got the ball in his feet and then trips over his own feet. And if we somehow manage to sell him for 42 million, I will legit stand here on this stream whenever he gets sold and it's confirmed. Here we go. He's holding up Marseille shirt, for example. I will give an Edu Gaspar standing ovation, maybe even sing a rhapsody for him or something like that, because that seems like a preposterous deal to happen, but it is what it is at the end of the day. If it's 25.5, it's fair, he's getting nothing, but if we sell him for 42, this Edu out stuff actually might need to change. The narrative actually might need to change, but at the moment it's Edu out. Anyways, but Gabriel Martinelli, the goal he scored, he tried the same thing about 2-3 times before. It nearly came off, but not to the full extent. And that defending on his goal in the 86th, 87th minute was classic Martinelli, basically. He runs with his head down, he lifts it up, sees that there's open space, then he drops the ball past the defender, and then just relies on his pace to get by them, and then gets the ball in his feet with some close-up dribbling, and then unleashes a shot. And that actually worked, given the gap between the right back and the center backs for Manchester United on that defense, and the DM also came in late. He managed to get a shot off, he scored a goal, and this is the Martinelli. This type of aggressiveness, this type of attack from Martinelli is Martinelli I want to see every single game for the next season. This is the type of Martinelli we had 2 seasons ago, when he scored insane amount of goals, got incredible assists, and he was cooking defenders left, right, and center. And that was the one where Arteta was saying we spread the goals around and we don't need the number 9. 2 years later, we are not spreading goals as much around, but we are scoring quite a bit of goals from all the positions, and we still don't have a number 9, so I guess we are never signing a number 9 by the looks of things, although I think that is at the moment necessity number 1 if we want to challenge for the league. So it is what it is, but it was nice to see Gabi Martinelli be on such a very aggressive form. Obviously, we are going to Philadelphia now to play Liverpool, so that will be very interesting to see how this happens, how this goes. Will Martinelli probably will start, and how he does against Liverpool, because this is the last game in the US tour, and this is the last game before we play the Emirates Cup against Bayer Leverkusen and Lyon before the Premier League kicks off. So it will be very interesting to see. The game against Liverpool will be a massive one, I'm not gonna lie. The question is what kind of 11 Arteta will put out. And while we are on the Arsenal team as well about this game, I want to give a mini shout out to defender, not Heaven, who got done by Højlund, but the other one. What's his name? Felipe Nichols? I think it's Nichols. Nichols, yeah. He shut down Jadon Sancho like there's no tomorrow. Sorry, my camera is doing a madness. Okay, it's back. Shout out to Nichols, because Jadon Sancho tried to take on him quite a few times, and you would think that he would be scared or he would get cooked, but at the same time, he showed no remorse, he showed no fear, no nothing. He legitimately put in tackles and shut Jadon Sancho completely down. Nichols looks like a very good center back for the future, depending on if he can avoid injuries and he can develop his game. And long term, maybe in about 5 years, if we need a backup for Saliba, he actually could be that case. Or if we don't win anything and Saliba leaves, he might be the one that steps up. Maybe, who knows. But that's long in the future, that's all what ifs and everything we need to focus on this season. But yeah, shout out to Nichols. He actually did a great job when he came on as a sub. Really, really loved that. Penalties, it is what it is. There were some shocking penalties, by the way, by Arsenal players. Kiwior just, I don't know what he did. It's like playing FIFA and red timing a shot, basically. And the shot just goes, I don't know, into space, somewhere into row Z, I don't know, hits grandma in the stands or whatever it happened, but he legitimately stepped up, and I was looking at the shot, and the goal is here, and the ball just goes somewhere to the right, and that's it. Ball disappears from the range. It generally was mad. I guess Kiwi isn't ripe for the summer. Kiwi isn't ripe for the summer, so we'll see how that goes. Who else missed a penalty? Havertz missed a penalty. Oh, that was a bad one. That was a bad penalty from Havertz. Not the usual Havertz type of penalty, because he usually takes better penalties. Otherwise, Gabriel Magalhaes had a great penalty, I'm not gonna lie. Overall, we did good. Yeah, shame we lost on penalties, but at the end of the day, you could say pens don't matter, but we need to score those because we need some pressure and training into that as well. But at the end of the day, we won against Manchester United. Given how last season's game against United went, this is a nice redemption overall, I'm not gonna lie. We got scarred free pretty much, unless Odegaard picked up something we don't know about. We got away pretty much scar free, no injuries, no nothing, unlike United, who got 2 injuries, which is obviously, you never want to see that in preseason, and you don't wish injuries to any of your opponents, by the way. No matter how much you hate them, how much if you're a footballing fan, you never wish an injury upon any footballer. So wishing them speedy recovery. And yeah, we move on to Liverpool. We'll see how that goes and everything. But yeah, I cannot wait actually to start the Premier League watch-alongs since season begins against Wolves. This will be a new thing on the channel, never done those, so it will be very interesting. But yeah, Arsenal won. Decent performance given how many players we missed. It generally looks like the players we are putting in the positions the way we want to play know how we want to play, and it looks like that in some way, definitely our main team with under 21s and under 18s maybe even are in sync in the style of play that we want to play, this type of football and everything. So that is nice to see. We are trying to revamp the youth system as well overall this summer, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, yeah, solid performance, better than against Bournemouth. Still lots to be desired, but obviously it's preseason, so hey, here we are. We'll wait to see what's gonna happen with that in near future. But yeah, moving on from Gabi Martinelli, we are moving on to daily cauliflower. Daily cauliflower. Eat your veggies, eat your salads and all that stuff, and here we go, the cauliflower soup. According to Fabrizio Romano, daily Calafiori still goes on, and Riccardo Calafiori has completed his Arsenal medical in London apparently, which is nice to see. And will now travel to the USA to join the rest of the squad, where he will sign a 5-year contract at the club. So basically it means he will fly with the team, he will sign the contract and sit on the bench or in the stands for the Liverpool game, because I don't see any chance of him whatsoever playing against Liverpool. The biggest chance I can see him playing is in the Emirates Cup against Leverkusen or against Lyon. We will have to wait for that, of course. But it looks like Calafiori has passed his medicals in London and now will travel to the USA to sign a 5-year deal. It only took Arsenal pretty much nearly a month to sign one player. Hopefully it's not things to come. Hopefully in the next 3 weeks before Premier League kicks off, we'd sign 2 or 3 more players, obviously. But yeah, this is a signing. How to describe this? This is the thing I don't like about Arsenal when they make signings. They drag the signings many times, not always, but quite a bit of times, very long. That we hear about the signings, the imminence, the deal agreed, the personal terms, for about 50 times a day in span of 2-3 weeks. So by the time the player gets announced as an Arsenal player, in a way nobody cares. Because it's pretty much, oh yeah, he's an Arsenal player for the last 2 weeks, I'm really sick of it, let's just move on. It kind of kills the hype of Arsenal signing players when these deals get dragged out for so long and how much they get covered. To be honest, I was more hyped, in a way, for Arsenal when they signed, let's just say, Julian Timber than we are signing Calafiori. Because Timber came out of nowhere. It was like, Arsenal were interested, Arsenal put in a bid, rejected, put in another bid, and few days later, he is an Arsenal player. It felt like it happened in a span of matter of days compared in a matter of weeks compared to Calafiori. It's a very weird one how Arsenal tend to do these businesses. But yeah, it looks like Calafiori has done everything. He has passed everything. He's gonna join in the USA with to Edu, Arteta, and Garlic, and everyone. Gonna sign the deal, and it looks like it's pretty much done, and he will be an Arsenal player. Any more news from US of A? Yeah, here we go. Here is some random rumor I didn't know I would need today, but here it is. Nottingham Forest are interested in a move for goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. That is according to whoever that is, basically Alan for Ramsdale, but unfortunately cannot meet Arsenal's £50 million asking price. Now, 50 million for Aaron Ramsdale, I get it. 42 to 50 million for Nketiah, I don't get it. So there is the big thing. Forest are willing to gamble and wait on Arsenal letting the player leave on loan right at the end of the window. So it could be another loan deal. Cannot we just sell him in about 3-year installments of about 15 to 20 million each season or something like that? Or maybe sell him in installments to be paid over 1.5 years to be paid, I don't know, every 5 months. You need to pay about, I don't know, 15 to 20 million. It's a big one. It's a big one because we haven't heard anything about Ramsdale since the beginning of the window when there were rumors that allegedly Newcastle were interested, but they valued him about 15-20 million, which is a laughable amount in my opinion for Ramsdale. So that went away and they turned attention to Trafford and everything, so it is what it is. So this is the first news about Aaron Ramsdale potentially leaving. Potentially, yeah? We have heard in a month, if not even more. So this is a very interesting one, how this will resolve itself. Because I don't see Ramsdale starting for Arsenal even on the bench for the next season. It might be a very prolonged and stretched out saga that ends up for Arsenal loaning out Aaron Ramsdale, which could work in both ways, to be honest. If he goes out on loan, does fantastically well, his value might actually increase and maybe someone would actually buy him. On the other hand, he might go out, he might even play, his contract runs down, Arsenal still don't sell him, and yeah, and Arsenal still cannot sell him in next summer. This is the big thing. Even though Ramsdale isn't on that high of wages, in my opinion, 120 million would be nice. 120,000, we put him on those wages more than a year ago when he was our main guy, which, to be honest, made sense at the time. He was our main guy, he was doing a great job, Arsenal was challenging for the title and all that stuff, and we put him on 120 grand a week, re-signed him and extended the contract, which made a lot of sense. But last summer we signed David Raya on loan, we made him number one pretty much instantly, which for me made 0 sense whatsoever, by the way, because we made him instantly generally about 1 or 2 months into the season, which I probably killed the momentum, killed Ramsdale's confidence and everything, so it is what it is. And the fact is that he's still valued so high because he's still young, he's England international, no matter what you say, he's arguably England's best goalkeeper when he's on form if he gets to play. I would play him instead of Pickford, to be honest. The way modern football has evolved, I genuinely believe Ramsdale would be better than Pickford, but at the end of the day, here we are. So it all remains to be seen what's going to happen with this deal, or what's going to happen overall, because you have to take this report with massive grain of salt, because it is coming out from the most reliable source in the world, from the Sun, the biggest scum on earth. So it is what it is. We will have to wait and see, but these are the first any rumor kind of levels for Ramsdale leaving we have heard in more than a month. So we have to talk about this, because we are all talking about Reece Nelson getting sold, Nketiah getting sold, Emil Smith-Rowe getting sold, and other players getting sold. But Ramsdale is like the black sheep of this family of players that need to sell. He never gets mentioned because there is nobody talking about him, and that is the big issue at the moment, because selling Ramsdale would give us some massive cash influx into the transfer budget, which would mean we actually could sign some nice players. So at the end of the day, we will have to wait and see how this develops. Moving on to Times Sport reports. Oh, Edu, lol, cooking on a grill. What else is new? Arteta, his staff, and the players are not the only ones putting in the hard yards. Edu, the effervescent sporting director. This is a new word I've heard. Genuinely, new word. I haven't heard this word ever in a transfer window describing any action whatsoever in my life. This is the first time I'm hearing about the word using in this instance. Has been seen wandering around the grounds of the hotel. So he doesn't stay in his own hotel room. He just wanders around the grounds in hotel and lobbies and all that stuff. AirPods in. Airport Albert lol. Talking to agents, club officials, and his colleagues back in London. Now, whether this means he was talking about Calafiori, whether this means we was talking about potential Emil Smith-Rowe selling deal or whatever, remains to be seen. But the fact is that if he's actually doing something, I'm cool. I know he doesn't always get the best amount of money for our players, or not all the time, but ever pretty much. And he drags out things he's seen on barbecues, galas, concerts, sucking toes more than he's seen doing the job. But if there are reports stating that he's actually doing the job, I'm cool with that. Because overall, the overall impression about Edu most of the time is you hear nothing about him, and randomly on his Instagram page you see him cooking on a barbecue, him going to a Taylor Swift concert, him riding a jet ski or something like that. And that is the biggest reason why it's a massive, one of the biggest reasons why there is a massive outrage many times from Arsenal fans, because you generally see him relaxing most of the time and you never see these reports that he's doing something. And here are some reports that give him substantial merit and the fact that he is actually doing something. I'm not trying to justify him or anything. I'm just saying it's nice for a change to see a report that he's actually doing something, because most of the time we just sit in silence and we know nothing. So it is what it is. Some more news about Emil Smith-Rowe. Well, Emil Smith-Rowe's 35 million move to Fulham is complete. Arsenal could when Arsenal could step up their interest in Mikel Merino, the Real Sociedad midfielder, and another versatile forward, but not an out-and-out striker, of which there are few. Now, the thing is, if we sell Emil Smith-Rowe, we are going in for a midfielder. Looks like Mikel Merino is the number one option. There has been the most heavy links about him, for him, in him, at him, and all that stuff, and it looks like Arsenal will actually go for him. That is one thing. The thing is, another versatile forward. Arsenal, after Merino, are looking for another versatile forward, but not an out-and-out striker, of which there are few. And this is the issue for me with Arsenal. Because yes, we need a backup for Bukayo Saka. Yes, in my opinion, we need a number 9. And Arsenal want to sign a versatile player that slots in on both of those positions. So who we gonna sign in this instance? Who will be the versatile forward we can play across the front three? Like, there aren't that many, and if there are any at all, to be honest, if you think about it. In this instance, you might as well stick Ramsdale up top, if that makes sense. But yeah, it looks like Arsenal are not going for out-and-out striker. They're most likely gonna go for just a forward, which is a bit of a blow, I'm not gonna lie. Because in my opinion, Arsenal need to sign a striker, a backup for Bukayo Saka, and 2 midfielders. So overall, 4 players in my opinion. And that is the big issue for me at the moment with the fact that this statement has come out. Hello. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how I see it. Without a proper striker, we are not winning the league. We need a player who is just genuinely sitting in the box, can hold up the possession, can be Fox in the box in a way, and then just drop a shoulder and then just instantly bang it in front of in the net, or he gets a cross, or he gets a volley, or something like that. In my opinion, we genuinely need an out-and-out striker. But it looks like Arteta doesn't feel that way. Genuinely looks like Arteta doesn't feel that way. Arteta feels like we need a backup for Bukayo Saka, and he's most likely gonna play Havertz up top, Jesus up top, maybe Trossard or Martinelli make shift into that spot, and then and that's it. And then we're gonna sign a versatile forward, which means we're gonna sign a winger who can cover left wing, right wing. But for me, I would genuinely risk it for the biscuit in this instance, go sign a striker, and use Gabriel Jesus as a backup for Bukayo Saka / being a number 9. That would be my opinion on this. But yeah, it's just me. I'm not Mikel Arteta, I guess. We need a clinical... Yeah, that's the thing. We need a striker who can finish consistently, who can score at least... I would genuinely argue about 18 to 25 goals. 18 and above. Yeah, that's the thing. Isak is not available. I would go for Tony. Yes, that's the thing. I would go for Tony as well. But according to some rumors that came out 2 weeks ago, Arteta sat down with Tony. They were talking. Tony has said he wants to play for Arsenal. He wants to score goals. He wants to win. He's ready to play. He's ready for the system and all that stuff. But Arteta didn't like how he presented himself. So either he doesn't like an ego, or the fact that he is maybe a bit cocky, which in my opinion is not a bad thing, but is a good thing. I don't know what's gone wrong there. That was all according to Charles Watts and everyone. That was 2 weeks ago. They were talking about stuff like that. But it is what it is. For me, Tony is available for 40 to 50 million. So basically, same amount Arsenal are asking for Edin Nketiah. So make it make sense in that regard. And just go and sign a striker. Because for me, getting a proper number 9, in my opinion, is much, much more important than signing a random other player, which we actually might not use in general. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, we will have to wait and see. But in this instance of signing a proper number 9, we as Arsenal fans may need to prepare for a very disappointing outcome in that regard, I'm not gonna lie. Based on reports, because reports overall throughout this whole summer transfer window has been... when we went for Šeško, we actually went for him. We wanted to sign a number 9, it was an opportunity. But since we didn't get Šeško, every single report has been Arsenal gonna focus on signing a defensive-minded left-back. Well, left-back, basically, a defender. A forward, which is not a proper out-and-out number 9. And a midfielder, so 3 players. For me, it should be if we sign a left-back, then left-back. 2 midfielders, a striker, and a number 9. So technically 5 players. But if we exclude the striker, we need, in my opinion, we need 4 more. 2 midfielders, number 9, and a winger. But according to reports and all that's circulating around, Arsenal will sign a forward that can play most likely left wing, right wing, and Arsenal will sign a midfielder, so 2 more players. Rest of the things, if we actually buy rest of the players in other positions or in general extra added players, might depend on sales or whether Arsenal deem the player good enough or we have money enough to actually sign him. So it's all up in the air and I have no idea what's going on in that regard. Because once we sell Emil Smith-Rowe, it looks like we're gonna sign Mikel Merino. Okay, cool. It's not the number 1 choice for me to sign, but he's a player that most likely will... it's not gonna increase for Arsenal the ceiling of the main team, but it's gonna decrease the gap between main team and the bench, because the drop-off between main 11 and bench is massive. That's for me. I can live with that. Genuinely, I can live with that. But we need more. We generally need arguably another midfielder for backups in general, and we need forwards. But it's Arsenal. For me, what from my experience with Arsenal, most of the time, 90% of the time, if it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. And that's how we operate in transfer market. And that's how basically I can ask, I can demand whatever I want, but at the end of the day, it means nothing in a way. I just can express my opinions, my concerns. You can tell me you agree, disagree, what you think. But we are not Mikel Arteta, we are not Josh or Stan Kroenke, and we are not Arsenal leaders, so what do we know? I guess, by the way, not just actually, but we just can guess in that instance. But yeah, it looks like Emil Smith-Rowe actually might be moving away pretty soon. Emil Smith-Rowe has agreed personal terms with Fulham. There are now only minor details left to finalize to complete after the transfer. Basically, Emil Smith-Rowe didn't play against Bournemouth, and he didn't play against United as well. He is with the squad. He is arguably training or doing something maybe separately, but he is not playing games. He's with the team, but he is doing things separately because, as Arteta said, things are happening in the background, and by the looks of reports and by the looks of how Arteta is answering questions about Emil Smith-Rowe, it's not a question about if, it's just a matter of when. So we will, I guess, have to sit here patient and wait till Emil Smith-Rowe gets sold, and then we are gonna go in, I guess, for Merino and whatever follows after that. But yeah, at the moment, Emil Smith-Rowe, it looks like it's pretty much safe to say he is gonna go out and he's gonna go to Fulham. Arteta in interview also has spoken a bit on Julian Timber. He said he's like a new signing for us. Big addition to the team. Yo, genuinely. This quote, in general, take out Arteta, put in Wenger, and instead of Julian Timber, put in Danny Welbeck. And it's legitimately copy-paste what Wenger said when, I think it was in January transfer window, when Danny Welbeck came back from injury. Ooh, he's like a new signing for us, and everything. It's generally copy-paste the same thing. Now he's getting the rhythm because obviously he's missed a lot of football in the last year or so. Just look at him. He's pressing, his leadership, his composure. Yeah, Julian Timber looks very good. He arguably last preseason, before he got injured, he was our player of the preseason, if there is such a way to say it. He looked very sharp, very aggressive. He didn't put a foot wrong. He played in Community Shield as a left back, and he bossed that position against City as well. Not to mention the fact that we conceded the goal against City pretty much instantly as soon as he came off, and we subbed on Zinchenko, I think it was. Instantly. And then we scored against Trossard after Trossard's deflection in very added time. But yeah, as soon as we took Timber off, we conceded. And it was such a shame that he only played about 50 minutes in the first season at Arsenal, and he got ACL and he got to be sidelined for such a long time. So generally, he is like a new signing pretty much because he missed about 60 games last season for Arsenal. But we'll have to wait and see, because so far he's looking very good. The biggest question for me with Timber is, where is he going to play? Because I'm pretty damn sure that the right back is going to be Ben White, right center back is going to be Saliba, left center back is going to be Gabriel. Now, who is going to play left back? That for me is the biggest question, because Timber started yesterday's game at center back. We started Zinchenko, oh my goodness, help us, at left back. If I see Zinchenko another in the season at left back, ooh, streams might get really spicy, I'm not gonna lie. And we just signed Calafiori, who can play left back, and we still have Kivior. So this is the big thing, we technically have 4 players who can play left back. So who is gonna play there? Is it gonna be Calafiori? Is it gonna be Timber or what? The big question also is Calafiori purchased as a starting player or as a backup or what? Because no matter how you look at it, how you shift the team around, it's gonna be either Ben White or Timber or Calafiori, who is gonna be benched more or less often than not. Because Arteta will rotate the back lines, and I think it mostly might be depending on the team we're gonna face. Whether we need a more physical, whether we need more aggressive, whether we need more with better passing, it all remains to be seen. That for me is the biggest question at the moment. Because I think 3 out of 4 positions in the Arsenal's back line is pretty much a lock-on, if you think about it. The right back and both center backs. The left back is up for grabs, unless Mikel Arteta for some weird freaking reason decides to bench Ben White, which would be insanity and would be the dumbest thing you could ever imagine, given that arguably he's the best right back in the Premier League and one of the most consistent performers for Arsenal last season, and season before that. So that left back position pretty much is up for grabs. Timber, Calafiori, Kivior, I don't want to say his name, but Crybaby from Ukraine and all that stuff, so it all remains to be seen. What else? Gabriel Jesus, this season is different. I could enjoy my holidays and then trained a lot, and I was focused to come back well and do good in preseason. Now I'm in a different shape and can play football again. Genuinely believe that this means that Gabriel Jesus, most likely after the surgeries and everything, has fully healed his injuries and everything, and now we could see actually the prime Jesus we saw before he got injured with Brazil at the World Cup, when he was quite excellent. I generally believe that could actually happen. So that all also remains to be seen. I hope he can avoid injuries, and if he can get to that, and if he actually can learn how to finish properly, which you cannot learn, you pretty much either have it or you don't, could be actually quite interesting to see. Because I would love to see him at wing more than at number 9 actually, because we have seen him at number 9, and I would love to see him at wing because his best performance is arguably when he was at Manchester City came from the wing spots, left wing, right wing, and he hasn't scored more than 14 Premier League goals ever in a season. So he is more of a winger with his tech and with his skills and ball holding abilities. He doesn't have the pace, obviously, to be a out-and-out pacey winger, but with his trickery and skills, he more than enough compensates for that, in my opinion. Just look at Trossard. He's also not the quickest player on earth, but he has the tech, he has the finishing ability, and he can do it. So it all remains to be seen what's gonna happen with that. And here's a player I just wanted to speak on a bit, because he's the player I would have loved to see at Arsenal. Artyom Dovbyk from Girona. Girona signed him from Dnipro 2 for 7 million. He was the top scorer in La Liga last season, and it was rumored that his release clauses are about 40 million euros. He's an out-and-out number 9, by the way. He's a number 9. Artyom Dovbyk is one step away to AS Roma from Girona for 32 million plus bonuses and a percentage of the future sales. Agreed personal terms for contract until 2029. 3 million a year plus bonuses, so 3 million a year. That pretty much comes round to what, 60k a week or what? I'm generally on top of my head. That's a bit less, right? Yeah, 58 grand a week. 58 grand a week. So Calafiori is pretty much on that, isn't he? Dovbyk has turned down the Atletico Madrid bid last week, waiting for Roma, and he's a striker I would have loved to see at Arsenal because he was excellent for Girona, and I generally think he would have done quite amazingly well for Arsenal last season. That's just my subjective opinion from watching La Liga and watching Premier League. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess Arsenal are not signing a number 9, but I think this could be the one that got away from us, potentially. And for 32 million euros, genuinely, that's about 27 million pounds. In my opinion, that's a steal and a half. Since given that we have wasted money on random players like Lokonga, still I would say at the moment Fabio Vieira until he proves me wrong. Apparently this is the season he has the big role and he will prove everyone wrong. If he doesn't, it will gonna be even more heated. Sorry, but 27 million pounds for Artyom Dovbyk, generally believe that could have been a steal and a half if Arsenal decided to go for him. But hey ho, it is what it is. He's gonna go to Roma. Very interesting to see how he fits in with De Rossi and Roma in general. Back to Mikel Merino for a second. Fabrizio Romano has spoken on him and said that Arsenal are prepared to advance in talks with Mikel Merino's camp next week after positive contacts. So next week apparently we are diving deeper in the Daily Merino saga. Daily Mikel Merino, and it looks like we actually might sign him. He's not only name on list but well positioned. Price tag requested by Real Sociedad will be the key. Arteta appreciates him. As soon as the ESR leaves, Arsenal can proceed. So basically, as soon as the ESR is sold to Fulham, Arsenal are going in for Mikel Merino. Biggest question still is the price tag that we need to pay for him. The thing is, he has 1 year left on his contract, and there are rumors that... Sorry, I need to... Camera kind of went mad there. There are rumors that he might be available for about 20 to 25 million pounds. Now, whether it's gonna materialize or not remains to be seen, because Sociedad can ask for him whatever they want. The biggest issue is Merino has already, from Sociedad's side obviously, Merino has already turned down a contract extension, which at the end of the day pretty much means the fact that if he leaves for free, they'll lose all the money, so they will need to ask. And they cannot ask too much because Arsenal have the ability to also walk away and sign someone else. Because, as you say in comments, I want Fabian Ruiz over Merino. Fabian Ruiz also is a player we have been linked with. The thing is, yesterday, Ruiz links came out 2-3 days ago. right? And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, were very contradicting rumors about that. There were rumors that Arsenal have contacted Ruiz and PSG's side for potential move, which would probably sanction for a midfielder Duli, which in this instance would be Emil Smith-Rowe, and the deal most likely would be loan with obligation to buy. And yesterday the rumors and reports started to come out from France, the fact that Arsenal and any representatives from Arsenal have never contacted PSG for deal for Fabian Ruiz. And it's all now up in the air. The thing is, this Mikel Merino is such a hard link in a way that the media are so hardly pushing for him. It's gonna be two ways. Either Arsenal are actually interested in him and we're gonna buy him, or there is actually no interest. Arsenal are pretending, they are covering this left, right, and center, and in the silence, Arsenal are working on Fabian Ruiz deal. There is actually that possibility as well. It all remains to be seen because in the recent years, Arsenal want to move in silence in the transfer windows, and with the thing is, the more we are linked with certain players, the smaller is the chance we actually sign them at many times. Because there have been multiple instances when we have been linked with players for weeks almost, and we never signed them. And we have signed in the case a player we have been linked with once or twice at the same time, but nobody was talking about it. And so it will be very interesting. For me personally, if I have to choose between Mikel Merino and Fabian Ruiz, I want Ruiz. Now the thing is, Ruiz had incredible stats, incredible form and seasons at Napoli. He went to PSG, and obviously PSG is a bit of a mess of a club. No matter what you want to tell me, it is a bit of a mess of a club for the last 4 or 5 years, with Messi then leaving, Mbappe leaving, and they still haven't figured out their way they want to move it to the future. And Fabian Ruiz played quite a bit of games in the first season, but in the second season his minutes were quite limited. They pretty much halved, if I'm not mistaken, from the previous season he played for them. No? Let's whoop, my bad. Let's check this quickly. Let's check this properly because I think I already looked at it. Fabian Ruiz, as you can see, League 1. He has played 48 games. Here it is. Yeah, as you can see, he played in the first season he played 1,900 minutes. And then instantly, it pretty much went down by, I would say, 45%. Instantly. He played 6 games less and minutes less. So this is the big thing. He played, and see, the last part of the season, starting February, he pretty much sat on the bench throughout the whole league and season. So which pretty much leads me to believe that he actually might be a bit dissatisfied with his time, because in the Spain team he played a very crucial and very massive role for them to win the Euros. And personally, I would take Fabian Ruiz over Mikel Merino. All depends on the price. It all remains to be seen. For me, the fact is, Mikel Merino is a bit more physical, a bit taller, and he loves to arrive box in the late, and he has arguably he's played with Odegaard together, and he has very good passing. Fabian Ruiz, on the other hand, is very, very controlled on the ball. He's more skillful than Merino on the ball, with some skills, touches and stuff. He has very similar passing, and he has a very good long distance shooting, which we, in my opinion, don't do enough at Arsenal. So it all that remains to be seen what's going to happen with that. But at the end of the day, each of these players have pros and cons in the instance how they fit into Arsenal. But for me, if the price is pretty much similar, let's just say Mikel Merino is 25 million, Fabian Ruiz is loan with obligation to buy for 25 million plus 5 or 6 million in add-ons, I'm going for Fabian Ruiz. For me, Fabian Ruiz kind of screams more Arsenal than Mikel Merino. But that's just me. That's my selfish opinion. Let me know what you think down in the chat and all that stuff. And it's see, this is the thing, the news about Mikel Merino to Arsenal don't persist. The biggest thing is he is valued at 47.5 million. He's valued if he is everything, but he has last year left on his contract, and I generally don't see Arsenal paying nearly 50 million for a player that is on his last contract, who himself has turned down the team to re-sign. I just don't see it. So this might be a bit of a cap. But generally all these deals, signing another midfielder will only happen once Emil Smith-Rowe to the Fulham deal goes through. So we basically have to sit patient and wait and hope for the best. Anything else to talk about for today's news? Sorry, anything else need to talk about for today's news? Any new things? Fulham to complete Arsenal signing within 1 week for club record fee. So according to this, it looks like Arsenal actually might sign, Fulham might actually sign him next week. Fulham are sorting the final details to sign Emil Smith-Rowe from Arsenal, with the midfielder excluded from Saturday's friendly against Manchester United. He didn't play also against Bournemouth, so it's not a big thing in that instance. Arteta has said himself he's not playing because there's deals happening behind closed doors. The deal they clarified, I believe it's referring to along. But yeah, Fabrizio Romano reported he's expected to join Fulham next week. Here it is. Fabrizio Romano says that Emil Smith-Rowe is expected to join Fulham next week. Final details to be sorted getting it done, but talks are reportedly at an advanced stage. David Ornstein had confirmed earlier this week that Fulham were close, so the talks were heading for a deal in the region of 35 million, which in my opinion will be 30 million pounds plus 5 million in add-ons most likely. That's my opinion how this deal will go. Arsenal had turned down initial 30 million bid from Fulham, but the Cottagers upping their offer. A deal is seemingly now close, which is most likely 30 plus 5, not just 30. It might most likely was 25 plus 5, now it's 30 plus 5. So it looks like he, by the next week, as Fabrizio Romano has said here, will join Fulham next week. By the next week, ASR is becoming a Fulham player, and Arsenal will go and try and sign a midfielder. Anything else we can talk about? Euro got injured yesterday, Højlund got injured yesterday, it all remains to be seen. World class 55 million forward would prefer a move to Manchester United despite don't care. If you prefer United, you might as well never come to Arsenal. Ramsdale we already talked about, potential loan to Nottingham Forest. Liverpool hijack attempt backfires, Arsenal ready, massive bid for former Brighton's goal scoring machine. Don't care. Report Arsenal transfer news, Gunners Chelsea joiners and the attacker. Yeah, this came out of nowhere, and I'm not sure whether it's true or not. This is a very weird one. This is a hell of a weird one if you ask me. Apparently Arsenal have joined Chelsea and Atletico Madrid in the race from Julian Alvarez. Question for everyone that's watching at the moment. Would you take Julian Alvarez at Arsenal? Big question of the day. Would you take him at Arsenal? Because I have a certain stance on this, which I know many people are not a big fan of. So at the moment I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself. I just want to see how do you feel about this in the chat. He would be we will have to play 70 plus million for him, by the way. That's instantly. See, it is understood that Man City are demanding 60 million plus 17 million in add-ons, so nearly 80 million pounds for Julian Alvarez. So let me know down in comments below what you think about that. Besides that, there's yesterday's game coverage, Mikel Merino. There's basically nothing new. Everything that I had prepared for the day, we already have discussed. So I guess on that note, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys so much for being here. You've been fantastic. Don't forget to let me know down in comments, or you're watching this as a playback in the chat. What you think? Would you take Julian Alvarez for 80 million nearly at Arsenal? It's 60 plus 17. Would you take Mikel Merino or Fabian Ruiz? What's gonna happen with Ramsdale? Let me all that know down in comments below. Have a nice evening, have a nice Sunday. Tomorrow, obviously, it's Monday, so new work week begins again, so woo! Anyways, everyone, I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. I absolutely loved it. Thank you guys so much for chatting, for liking, subscribing. You have been genuinely, phenomenally fantastic. Much love, take care, and see you all tomorrow on another stream, because that's what we do. This is a very waffling ending. Anyway.